All right, kia ora everybody. Welcome to our Honey Hub Connection call. It is the 2nd of June 2020. Holy moly, we're halfway through the year. And we get together on these connection calls every Tuesday, usually just as a team, but we often open up our calls because there's some pretty amazing stuff happening within the hub, and we love to share that with other people because we think it's worth sharing. It's pretty inspiring and empowering stuff, and it also gives an opportunity for the wahine in our hub to share their stories, to get out of their comfort zone a little and share their kōrero and tell us about what they've been up to, because a lot of the time our whānau and friends don't actually know what goes on behind the scenes. So here on our connection calls, we usually do a bit of team training, we do a bit of Q&A, we do a bit of sharing wins and challenges, and just helping each other through our journeys with the business, but also with our health journeys at the same time. And tonight we've got the beautiful Rose, who has been a part of the hub for a couple of years now, however has only really put her, I guess, a belief into it recently, and it's been such an amazing journey for myself to be alongside Rose this whole time. So when I started with the hub and with the Juice Plus company, Rose was actually one of my first customers, and well, she was my first customer, sorry, my very first customer. And we studied together beforehand, and yeah, ever since then she's been part of the hub, part of the JBT program, and has done some incredible things, and especially for herself has just transformed into just this incredible version of herself, who she always was, but she uncovered a bit more of who she was, and now she's got the courage to kind of share a bit of that with others, because she sees the importance in that. And that's what we try to encourage in the hub is, hey, you've got a story worth sharing that could impact on other people's lives and create change for other people as well. So we really encourage our girls to our wahine to share their stories for that reason. So I'm going to get straight into it. Rose, can you just just give us a little bit of background on where you're from, who you are?
Okay, can everybody hear me?
Hi.
Kia ora. Thank you for the mihi, Hannah. So for those of you who don't know me already, my name is Rose. My whakapapa is very much in the Hokianga. So on my mother's side, my whānau are from Miti and Tāhiki. And on my dad's side, we are from Otawa, also in the Hokianga, and Tauranga. So so my whakapapa is very much in the Hokianga. However, I grew up all over the place. So I was born in Rawene, in the one and only maternity ward in the whole of the Hokianga. So I was born in Rawene. We lived in Otawa for a little while, and then my parents moved us to Australia because there was no mahi in the Hokianga in the 80s. So we moved to Aussie. So my first school was quite a multicultural school. I was the only Māori in my school, but we had a huge diversity of cultures there, and that was really cool. So, but I knew nothing about my Māoritanga. I knew nothing about my whānau here in New Zealand, other than the whānau that were visiting us. So my mum got tangi for home. She wanted to come home in the early 90s. So we moved back in 1990, I think it was. And we moved straight back to the Hokianga, which was a massive culture shock for all of us, to come from the big Sydney, Australia, to the little old Hokianga. And I went to school at Waima Area School, which I think is a total immersion kura now. I think they're a kura kaupapa Māori school, but they weren't at the time. But yeah, that was my first kura. We moved to Kaikohe, and then eventually to Auckland, where I finished my schooling, and kind of went off and did my own thing. Went and studied, went and did some mahi overseas, And then I came back to New Zealand to do a teaching degree, and I got halfway through it and decided that I don't like kids enough to be a teacher. So I pulled out halfway through that degree, which I'm really grateful for, because I didn't want to be stuck in mahi that I wasn't passionate about. Anyway, so I went back to work, did lots of different things, and then I decided to come back to the north. I moved back to Whangarei and did some study, and then in 2006 I was diagnosed with hypothyroidism, Graves' disease. I was 25 years old at the time, and life was really cool. It was busy and it was chaotic, but I started to feel really unwell, and I went to my doctor, and I think there was a period of about 6 months where we tried heaps and heaps of different medications and nothing was working. And my GP at the time decided that I should have radioactive iodine treatment to treat this condition. That was a really hard decision to make, because I knew the outcome was meant medication for the rest of my life and just a whole lot of health issues. But at the time, I believed that doctors knew best, so I went ahead and I did the radioactive iodine treatment. That basically killed off my thyroid completely. I lost a lot of hair. My nails were really brittle. I developed like a lot of anxiety and just a lot of really yucky health issues. I thought that was my norm, so I carried on with life. And in 2008, I was hapu with my baby girl, Simone. She's 10 now. And at the time, I was probably at the height of my thyroid condition, and I was taking a whole lot of different medications, and my GP advised me to have a termination. They said that that a pregnancy was high risk for me, that it was high risk for my daughter, that I may not even carry full term, and just a whole lot of other really scary things that that were making me consider whether this is an option that I should take. Anyway, I got all up in my wairua feels about it, because it's my first baby. So I had a kōrero with mum and dad, and they said, no, as a whānau, we will go ahead and have our baby. And I'm really glad that I did. I had a really amazing pregnancy. I took a more of a holistic approach to my pregnancy. I ate well, I exercised well. I was probably the healthiest I had been in years. And I'm happy to say that I had a really beautiful home birth. She was born at her grandparents' home in Whangarei. She was a beautiful, healthy baby, and she is a healthy child. She's had no health issues. She's really bright, opinionated as. But to be honest, she's my drive for getting myself healthy. Anyway, I had my baby, and things are going really good. And in 2015, I decided to go back to uni, and I started my social work degree, and that's how I met our beautiful metes here in Ngaurupu. And at the time, I was working 2 part-time jobs and studying full-time as well. So that was a bit of a challenge, but I got through it. We graduated in 2017, and I was really, really unhealthy at that stage. But I have just got this degree, and now I have to utilize this degree and go and earn some money to pay it off. So the health kind of took a little bit of a backseat again. I was working full time at towards the end of my degree. I found that a real challenge. In 2017, I went to work for Oranga Tamariki, so that's previously Child, Youth and Family. For those who don't know, that's our child protection agency here in New Zealand. And that mahi was really intense. It's intense on a human level, but when you're Māori as well, you kind of go into this mahi not just as yourself. You are representing your whānau, your hapu, your iwi. So, you know, for Māori, we have our 9 to 5 jobs, but we also have our commitments outside of mahi. So at that time, we had a lot of marae and hapu stuff going on, and I was basically burning the wick at both ends. And so by 2017, I discovered the Juice Plus, and it was like a real wow moment. For me, I didn't really need convincing because I trusted my mete Hannah. I knew that this was, if this is something that was cool for her, I didn't even need to question it, basically. I just said, yep, hit me up, let's have this kōrero and let's get my shit together, basically, because I was feeling really yuck. So for the first few months, it was amazing. I loved Juice Plus. I had heaps of energy. I was eating really well. I was doing really well at mahi as well. But I don't know what happened. The mahi just got really intense. I had a lot of high complex cases. I had a lot of other commitments. And so by 2019, I was at the heaviest I've been. So I weighed in at, I think it was 158 kilos. And during that time, I had been diagnosed with sleep apnea. So I needed an oxygen mask to sleep at night. I had really severe asthma, so I was on all my inhalers. I was using the nebulizer probably once every 3 months or so. And whenever I got a cold, it was really bad. It would knock me out for about a week, and which meant that I had to take leave from mahi, which meant bills weren't getting paid, you know. So and your employer can only give you so much time off before your illness starts to affect your mahi and your output. So yeah, that was a big thing for me. But yeah, I don't know what happened. I just lost my way a little bit, and I stopped taking the Juice Plus because I thought, well, I'm not eating well, I'm not taking care of myself. Why am I taking this product? It's a waste. And it sat on my shelf for a little bit, and that's when I got really, really sick. So by, I think this time last year in June, things were really tough at mahi. And I went to see my doctor, and my GP basically said to me, you're burnt out, you're exhausted, you're not taking enough care of yourself. I am going to put you off work. And I actually had a big fight with my GP about it. I was sitting there saying no, because I felt like a real failure. You know, I felt like I've just done this 3-year degree, I'm doing this mahi, and now I can't even cope with my own health. Like, what the fuck? Oh, sorry. How can I help people when I'm not even taking care of myself? So for me, that was a massive reality check. Yeah, so I got back on the Juice Plus this year, and things have been amazing. But I think it was good that it was really cool to go to a GP who could see what was wrong with me and just basically said to me, look, there's a whole lot of other shit that's going on with you. It's not just your health, and you need to take this time off for your daughter as well. So I took their advice, and I was really fortunate to be in a financial position to take a year off mahi. I think if I didn't have that opportunity, I would have kept going to work, and I probably would have got worse. But so I acknowledge that I was very, very fortunate to be in a financial position to take that time off. So after my kōrero with my GP, I was gutted, and I went home, cried all day. And that night I saw a documentary on Māori TV about a tohunga from Te Hapua, his name was Peniaha Murray. And the story was done by a parent of my daughter's friends. And so I reached out to him and I said, can I please connect with this tohunga? I said, I'm going through some stuff right now. And he said, yeah, sure. So he gave me that number, and like just before 5 o'clock the next morning, I rang this man, and that kōrero was life-changing. It was the wake-up call that I needed. He knew straight away what was wrong with me, and that he said that your health is actually okay. It's just you're carrying a lot of hara from stuff that had happened years ago, and just lots of little things. So we had a kōrero, and basically he said, you know, this is your healing time. You need to get over yourself and do the mahi, do the healing. So that day I wrote my resignation letter to my employer at Oranga Tamariki. I thanked them for the opportunity in that, and I acknowledged all my beautiful colleagues, and yeah, and I basically walked out of my job, and from that day forward, my health just came first. It was just a non-negotiable thing for me. Mostly because I'm a single parent. My daughter's 10 years old, and she was watching me being quite self-destructive in the mahi that I was doing. You know, was my way of relaxing was having a few drinks on the weekend, because and like I'd drink Saturday, spend Sunday recovering to get ready to go to work on Monday. It was just a really fucking shit life, basically. I had this degree and this awesome paying job, and like materialistically I had all these things, but my wairua was shot, and I just needed to focus on that. So I jumped back on the Juice Plus hardcore. This lockdown has been amazing. It's forced us to change the way that we eat, the way that we live, the way that we buy things. Te Ao Māori has been a really huge contributing factor to our changes. I think especially just the decision to not eat meat and stuff has been based around our values, and that it's got nothing to do with trying to be kind to animals, and that it was just purely just a huge shift in our values. So now I've lost 50 kilos since being on our program. I think I've done heaps of growth. This time a year ago, there's no way you would have had me on a live talking about stuff. I'm here today having this interview with my mete, and Hannah's been really instrumental in keeping me on this waka too. She's probably she's one of the only people that I will go to. I'm getting emotional with some really heavy stuff that I wouldn't talk to with anybody else about, and like I go to her because I know my mete is gonna tell me to pull my shit together, basically, in a loving way. And so she's my go-to, and she is a really big part of the reason I'm still here. So that's my kōrero for now.
Roses, thank you for that. That was amazing. I do have some questions for you, because you have, I like I said before, I've been very honored to be part of that whole journey with you since you started on Juice Plus, and going through that really tough moment when you just fully pulled away from it, and I knew in that moment, in that period of time when you stopped taking it, and you knew as well, you knew deep down too that it was coming to this, but it's those things, it's those lessons that we have to go through to grow through. You know, we can't grow unless we get, you know, it's usually we have to hit real rock bottom before we go, okay, let's switch it up here. And also being so in touch with your wairoatanga as well. And you know that, you know, most people here know my story as well. And that it was, you know, we had the business, we had the lifestyle, we owned the home, you know, from the outside, it was like, shit, these people have got it going on. And same for you. Oh, shit, Rose has got off a, you know, degree. She's freaking solo mama, rocking it out, full-time job, you know, high-paying job, da-da-da-da-da. But little did a lot of people know that it's like eating you up inside because it doesn't align. It wasn't aligning with who you truly were and what you are meant to be here for. And the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, the higher power will keep sending us messages until we get it, until we listen. And it's like the feather brick truck thing, you know, the universe will send you a feather, and then you don't listen, so it'll throw a brick at you. Don't listen, so you have to get hit by a truck before you actually do something about it, you know. And it was such an honor for you. I would get these huge messages from my mete just out of the blue. She'd just go and just have this amazing, people call it a dump, I call it freaking just, you know, processing your shit. And I'd get these beautiful long messages, and then it'll be like, oh, I'm so sorry, you know, and I'm like, no, like, I'm just so glad that you had somebody that you could just, you felt safe to like dump that with, and I feel really honored to be a part of that journey with you. And yeah, and I there have been moments, especially recently, where I've had to just be straight up with Rose and just be like, girl, you need to stop it and get out of your own way, and deep down, and that's what this the Honey Hub is really about, is when we support each other, and we go at your own pace when you come in here. However, if we see that you're ready, even if you kind of are doubtful about it, but deep down that you're ready for that next step, we'll put you in a position, we'll create a space for you to grow into, and you get good at kind of identifying that in people. And that's what we're doing right here. Rose has just excelled in the last few months, and it's just been so cool to see, just because the journey has been so massive. But I want to know, or get you to tell us about, where was it that your mindset switched? What needed to happen for you to realize the importance of having to rewire your thoughts and change up that whole way of thinking?
I probably had a few moments that I ignored. So I've still got some scars from having bricks thrown at me. But, I think the moment was my first week that my doctor had put me on leave, and my baby was really mumwai, because she had been watching me go through all this stuff for a few months, and she just said to me one day, she's like, Mum, she's like, I don't like this, I don't like what's happening, you're not my mum, you're not my happy-go-lucky mum that I used to have. She really was my driving factor, was my girl. And her age, because she's 10 and she's really impressionable now, and it just gutted me for my girl to watch her strong mama to go through that. And I didn't want that for her. I wanted her to see me fail and then pull myself up from it. So I think for me was my daughter. We have lots of really cool kōrero, me and my girl. And because she goes to a total immersion kura, so she's at Te Kapehu Whetū here in Whangarei, and we love our kura. Our kura has contributed hugely to changes in our life too. So for my baby, she always brought it back to Te Ao Māori, because that's her second language, and that's what she knows, So she always brought it to that. What does your wairua feel like, Mum? The reason that you're feeling like this is because of A, B, C, and D. And she knew that I knew that too. So yeah, I think discussions with my baby, my first week of leave, I realised I needed to get real about that stuff. That I am the only one my daughter has. I'm the only real role model in her life every day, and so yeah, I think that was the moment for me. Yeah, my girl was being robbed of so much, and that felt like shit. I had more time for the tamariki that I was working with than I did for my own daughter, which is whoa.
Yeah, and that's when that's when that alignment concept comes in again, and I love what we stand for in the hub as well, and because so many of us are mums, but even if we're not mums, we are surrounded by people who are influenced by our actions, by our decisions, and we are really raising leaders, and especially for our daughters. I've got a daughter as well, Tracy B does too, and they're at impressionable ages as well, and it's something that we're very conscious of, and the way, like the conversations that we have in the hub, my daughter hears those. She hears the personal development stuff that we do, and all of that empowering and uplifting language, and it's definitely made an impression on my daughter. And I'm sure it has for yours too, Rose.
Yeah, very much.
And I just love that about our hub, like that. We're here for our kids, of course we are. This is a normal mothering maternal thing, but we're also here to support other mamas who are feeling that mum guilt, you know, that we all feel. It's like pushing
and that's
and
what I heard
pulling
from a lot of our kōrero was other mamas sharing the same shit. I'm like, oh, I'm not the only one who needs oranga tamariki called on themselves. I'm not the only one giving my kids scrambled eggs for dinner. It's like, I didn't feel like such an asshole, I guess. I felt normal because there were other mamas doing the same thing. And then, like I said the other night, my story is not unique. There's so many people with all this mamai, so, you know, my story is not unique.
Not at all. And we're not special. We all have those stupid fucking thoughts, you know, those doubtful thoughts, those fears of, oh, what are people going to think of me? Or what am I this? What am I that? You know, all those common fears that come up. It's like, you're not fucking special. Like, we all feel that. But what we do here is support each other to move through that shit and recognize that it's just bullshit stories in our heads and that we've been conditioned into and all of that sort of thing. And that it's always going to be there, but we give you tools to be able to drown that shit out with more empowering stuff that helps us to forge forward. And I'm so honored to just watch you grow and flourish. It's been beautiful. So those common limiting beliefs of caring about what people think, you know, I've written down here, you've been a partner of Juice Plus for over 2 years. You let your first year run out. So when we come into the business, we sign up for a year at a time. So our businesses roll over and we can decide whether to carry that on or not. And Rose actually let hers run out. And then I was like, oh man, like I just always knew deep down that Rose could really create an impact with this platform. And then she jumped back on, like, sign me up again, like, oh, you know, I'm still in this, so that was cool. And it's only in the past 3 months that you've actually been, you know, actually doing the business, you know, doing the activities, bringing people into the program and helping them along their health journeys. So how have you been able to overcome those barriers that held you back from sharing your story for so long? Like, what has it been mostly that's helped you just, you know, drown out the bullshit stories and just do shit, get stuff done?
Definitely the Hine Ngaro mahi, doing the mahi on myself, feeding, like it's like I've said before, it's easy to put good stuff in your tinana, it's easy to eat fruit and vegetables, but what am I putting up here? What am I feeding my Hine Ngaro, and how is that affecting my wairua? So basically, I just, it sounds so corny, I just decided not to fill my head with shit, and not to read shit, not to watch shit, not to listen to shit. And through that, I actually lost a lot of friendships or just relationships with people because they're just on a different wavelength. I don't know, I just stopped getting caught up in the stuff like the bullshit stories. I started listening to cool podcasts. I started listening to our tuakana, this company, and watching their videos, and you know, just learning from them and realizing that and not only that, just what it has done for myself, not just me, but for my whānau as well. I'm a better person for my whānau. I'm a better person for my daughter, for my family. You know, I'm more active now. I've got heaps more energy. So the belief, and just the fact that I fucking well deserve it after having shit run with health for so many years. Like, sick of being sick. But yeah, I think what you fill your mind with makes a huge difference. Who you're engaging with, because that period where I slipped away for a bit, you know, I used to get easily offended, or I'm not offended. What's the word? I would get easily put off by negative comments, you know, about our company and from other people. You know, like I would try and get whānau on board, and they would see some of our other wahine and go, I can't relate to this woman. Look at her. She's got this flash kitchen and she's this and that. And it's like, come on, whānau. Let's get over ourselves and stop looking for these excuses not to level up, you know, like, come on, man. It's not, we're not about the bullshit, you know, like people who know me know that I would not be in this kaupapa if it wasn't one that didn't align with my values and who I was, because I left a very high paying job because it didn't align with my values. So for me, you know, it's not difficult for me to walk away from something that doesn't feel right and that's not serving me. It might take me a little while to, I might need a few bricks to the head before I get it, but it does happen, you know, because I get sick, you know, my wairua tells me in my health when something's not right. Well, when doctors can't tell you why you have gut problems or why you have stomach aches or why you have chronic back pain when you've not injured yourself, you know, it's like, to me, that's hara, that's mamae, that's not necessarily a medical issue as such. I mean, I don't know what other people's whakaaro is, but that's my whakaaro.
Definitely, and I think you know, intrinsically as Māori, we get that, and I think even non-Māori get that if they're open to it, is that we hold on, you know, and there's studies, there's freaking science for it now, you know, that historical trauma, when we hold on to traumas, you know, in bad relationships or horrible shit that's happened to us as kids or even as adults, when we hold on to that, our body actually at a cellular level holds on to that. And that's why it's so important to do that mindset stuff, and you feel it on a physical level. And actually that podcast I sent you recently, Rose,
that was amazing.
And I'll get you to share, if you will be open to sharing, just that recent experience that you had, where you had doubts about our latest promo, because our latest promo is the Get Naked Challenge. And again, Rose is not special. Everybody had like triggers about that, like get naked. People are going to think they're going to have to get naked, and you know, it's quite a shocking promo, which I love because it really does trigger people into like, actually what it's about is about feeling good in your body and feeling, you know, happy in your naked body. But then also when you peel back the layers, it's feeling, you know, going back to the basics, stripping back to what the basics are of health. And that really is covering holistic health. It's not just about eating well, it's about, like you say, what you're feeding your mind and your heart and all of that. So do you want to just share that story and how you were able to overcome that? And then I sent Rose this podcast that explained on a scientific level what actually happened there with her. So I'll just share that.
So I when I initially heard about this Get Naked Challenge, I thought, cool, I need to reset because I've been, you know, indulging a bit. And then the promo pictures came out, and there's the skinny bitch on there. And I just thought to myself, like, you know, I just thought, what? I'm supposed to promote this, and then I started to think about things. You know, it's like, how can I promote this to people when I don't even feel that way about myself? And it's even when I was at my big, I've been pretty confident. I've never really had big issues about body image and that, but since losing 50 kilos, you know, I'm a bit shy about what I look like now. And I just thought to myself, this is whack, getting people to do this challenge and get naked when I don't even feel like that about myself. So I didn't even promote it for a few days. And I messaged Hannah about it, and I said, Mete, look, I'm feeling this way. And she tried to say to me, well, it's not just about getting naked literally. How about you present it in this way? So, and then I got my back up a little bit. I was like, look at this one. She's trying to soften the blow for me and make it comfortable for me. And I thought, no, fuck that. I'm going to go away and I'm going to think about this. So I did. And holy shit, I had this big mamae moment that, you know, when you lose 50 kilos, you know, and when you're at the age that I am, that things don't go back into place like they should. So you have these anxieties about it. And then Hannah said to me, you know, what would you say to somebody who is saying the same stuff that you're saying to me? And at that point I was ready to block Hannah, but I loved her too much, so I can't. So I took that partai away with me that night, and I just I started to realize that how cruel I've been to myself, and just how I realized that I hadn't actually properly forgiven myself for the damage that I had caused over these years. And when I say damage, I mean, just because the doctor tells you take all this medication, you'll be right, doesn't mean you're actually going to do that. So I didn't take very good care of myself. But yeah, so I went to bed that night, and I promised myself that I would go to bed with forgiveness, and that because what I did realize was that during all this weight loss, you know, my tendon is really strong now. I've got strong legs, like I said in my novel that I wrote, that you know, I can climb Mount Maunga now with no problems. I dug a big garden up north the other weekend, and you know, to be able to physically do that stuff, that's a really big deal for someone like me who hasn't had the physical strength to do those things for a really long time. And then, you know, I went out to the beach the next morning. I drove out to Ocean Beach. It was freezing, but I stripped down to my togs, and I walked out, and I went for a swim out in the ocean. It was pretty rough, but I went out there. I had a karakia with Tangaroa, had a bit of a cry, and I left all my hara in Tangaroa, I guess, and I came out of that beach and out of that water, and I felt fucking amazing. You know, I felt forgiven, I felt accepted. So I sat on the sand in my togs and all my saggy glory, and you know, and I just appreciated that despite all this sagginess and stuff going on, I'm really strong, and I could probably outrun and outlift some girls who are a decade younger than me. So, you know, I thought that's really cool. You know, stop being so hard on yourself. You know, stop being a hater, basically. So I started seeing it as metaphorical for getting rid of, I think I said, some mamai and pōti kākahu rather than actual kākahu as such. So yeah.
Yeah, and I loved that about that kākahu taking that, you know, and it's about stripping back the layers through your journey, stripping back the layers of who we are. And I know, like, when I've seen, and for yourself especially, you know, when you lose that weight, it's not just losing the weight, it's stripping back the layers of like you say, the hara and the trauma and whatever it is that we all go through and we all you know, hold on to for years, and that's what impacts the sickness as well, and the disease that shows up in our bodies, and the pain. And when people, you know, when people say, oh, where have you gone? You know, now you've lost 50 kilos. Where did you go, Rose? You know, it's like, actually, here fucking I am, man. Like, people really struggle. I think is when people grow, and when what Rose talked about before about, you know, just separating from relationships and stuff that no longer serve you. We all experience that in this journey, and not just in this business, but when you're on a personal development journey and you're just stripping back the layers, you become a different person. Not a different person like at the core, because you're always that person, but you do grow into a better version of yourself. You do change your belief patterns and all of that sort of stuff, and it's real hard for some people to accept that, and they'll try and just make you know, really subliminal kind of subconscious, I don't know, what do you want to call it, real subtle things to make you feel like that it's not okay to grow beyond, or make you feel bad about your personal growth, and usually that's because they're not doing anything for themselves. But you know, for some people that can be a real knockback, and I love that the Honey Hub really, you know, pulls together, and when you do put your hand up to say, I'm struggling here, I'm feeling overwhelmed, I'm feeling defeated, that we'll always band together and help you work through that. And I love how you have come through that, because I know that was a big deal for you, was, you know, having people come at you with negative comments and things like that. And we had that conversation around inviting that we actually, our own doubts and fears actually feed into that and attract
yeah.
those types of comments. So when you have people, you know, making comments about network marketing, or it's a pyramid scheme, or
Yeah.
da, 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 all the things under the sun that we've all heard before, that I don't get that, because I have certainty. I have unshakable certainty that I actually don't have people saying that to me ever. But I I have had team who have had that, and I'm just like, wow, there's still people out there like thinking like that. But what I know to be true is that when you have certainty in something and you have your own story about something, that no one can argue with that, so they won't. And that's why we really encourage in the hub is to share your story and share your journey and share the business through your story. Your story is your brand, and nobody can argue with that. When we start getting into facts and figures and things like that, people can argue with that. They can argue with that stuff, and that's normal. But when you come from heart and come from your own journey and your own experience, nobody can argue with that. And I love that you've come to that point where you're just like decided, this is who I am, this is what I'm doing, this is the journey I'm on, this aligns with me, and it keeps coming back to me. So obviously it's supposed to be part of my life and part of who I am. I think
that korero really resonated with me. And like when we had that discussion, I literally stopped approaching people that way that day, and I have not had any. It's really weird.
And you invite it in. It's the law of attraction. Like you can't argue with it, to be honest. 3 questions that I've got for you before we go, because I'm mindful of the time. I just want to thank you again for being open and honest about your journey with us. And this won't be the last time that we have Rose here, because she's still in her journey, man. She's like living it. She's in action, and we all are. So we're all going to have these updates and check in with each other's journeys. So stay tuned, because Rose is about to do some pretty awesome shit, man, and I'm so excited for everybody in the hub. We do have some events coming up, so we're getting back into our workshop soon, which is exciting. So we're having one in Ahipara on the 13th of June, which will be our first one, and then one the weekend after in Whangarei, and possibly one in Auckland the following, or soon, not too far after. And we'll just be continuing those, so we alternate a far north with the Whangarei one. And there you will learn our food combining methodology. We usually get speakers in or special guests, and we have a theme, or it's always different. So get in touch with the person who you know is a Honey Hub rep and find out the details for those, because it's really fun and really cool, and you get to really feel the wairua and the kaupapa of what we do and what we stand for. 3 questions before I go. What's your favourite waiata?
Oh my gosh. Simone, what's our favourite waiata? I didn't have a favourite waiata. What, honey?
Ngā Waira. Ngā Waira? Favourite place in the world?
Miti, hands down, always.
Yeah, represent. Favourite plant-based meal?
It's my tandoori broccoli. It's my absolute favourite at the moment. We are smashing that back.
Yes, I just made a cauliflower mushroom risotto tonight. Love it. So good. Tandoori broccoli sounds amazing. All right, thank you, my friend. We're going to go and pop over to our next event, where you'll hear some little snippets and things of from our other girls in our hub. You just hear little short versions of their stories. So we're going to jump over there. You'll hear a bit more info about our program and our business model and what we get up to. So if you want to come and join that, then pop over, message me quickly if you want the code for that, unless somebody wants to throw that up right now. I don't have it on me. Otherwise, message your Honey Hub rep and they can send the link through to you. Thank you all for joining. We appreciate you all. We love you all. We'll be here same time next week, next Tuesday. Ka kite anō. Thank you, Roses. You're amazing.